good morning. Today I am coming at you with an ab workout to replace all ab workouts. The goal of this ab workout is to give you a strong, stable, and defined midsection. This is specifically a well-rounded core workout to get your core from all sorts of angles and target it in all different ways to give you the strongest, most stable, functional, and defined core that you could have. But something I want to make clear is that this workout specifically, and 99.9% of all other ab workouts on YouTube, is not going to be the most efficient way to get a six-pack. I have a whole video on the most efficient way to get a six-pack even at a higher body fat percentage. Highly recommend checking that video out. And if you want workouts specific to that, I have a whole ab challenge that you can follow as well. But here's the thing, if you're at a higher body fat percentage and you just need to lose fat to be able to see definition, training your abs is like the least efficient way to get there. Maybe it'll get you there eventually, but let's think about it this way. Your core is this much of your body. Let's just be generous and say that that's 8% of your total muscle mass is in this section of your body. So if you're only using 8% of your total muscle mass to burn calories, speed up your metabolism, help your body lose fat, that is 8% efficiency. The best way to get a six-pack through losing body fat is actually to train the rest of your body. You should be squatting, deadlifting, bench pressing, overhead pressing, barbell rowing, etc. Your last focus should be training your core if your overall goal is just body fat loss. So to be totally 100% transparent with you guys, this workout, again, along with 99.9% of other 10-minute ab challenges on YouTube, is not going to be efficient for burning body fat, for getting abs as quickly as possible. What you want to do is take this and combine this with another workout program that is efficient for fat loss. And what this workout will do specifically in combination with that is give you just a stronger, more stable, functional core that will also add some amount of definition, but you're also gonna have to lose the body fat to get there. So you wanna be working on the whole package. That said, one of the goals of this workout is to build a more defined midsection so that you can see your abs maybe even at a slightly higher body fat percentage. So this involves training the rectus abdominis, which is the six-pack muscles, and taking them through forward flexion and rotation. That said, having strength and stability and functionality in your core is also super important for being able to execute heavier lifts. If you're deadlifting, having a strong core is really, really helpful. But also just for longevity, as you age, as you get into your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, having a strong, stable core is really helpful in not being one of those people in the commercials that's help, I've fallen and I can't get up. So I've also thrown a little bit of transverse abdominis action in here, a little bit of oblique action, and some other good stuff to just help, again, build just a well-rounded core. Not literally rounded, that's not the goal, just well-rounded training. Again, 100% transparency. This workout, and every other single ab workout on the planet, is not going to specifically help you burn fat right here. You cannot spot reduce fat. If you do want to or need to lose body fat in order to get your ideal physique, whether or not that incorporates visible ab muscles, I recommend combining this with a solid workout program that trains your whole body. So again, you're not getting 8% efficiency, you're getting 100% efficiency by training your whole body. My workout program, Brains and Gains, would be perfect to accompany this. You can pick a program that has you working out between 2 and 6 days a week, either a full body split or an upper lower split, and that would honestly be a great program to just tack this on the end of. So a couple more things before we get into the workout. I really need to emphasize this because this workout is very different from most other ab challenges that you see on YouTube, where you do a movement for 30 seconds, rest for 15, and repeat. This is not that. This workout program is much more hypertrophy focused, and hypertrophy means muscle growth. You're not going to see muscle definition if you don't have muscle underneath the skin and the fat that is covering it. This is why you see so many skinny fat people that don't have visible abs. It's because there is ab muscle under there, it's just tiny. And if they built it out a little bit more, they would have ab definition. So that said, a lot of these exercises are weighted. You should not be able to do 100 reps of them. You shouldn't be able to do more than 2 more reps than what I prescribe in the workout. If you can do 20 plus reps, you need to increase the weight. Also, most of these exercises are going to be dynamic, meaning you're moving through a full range of motion rather than static. Static exercises are great for endurance, and we do have a couple of those in here because, again, well-rounded, but for the exercises that are actually going to help you see more definition in your core, you need to be going through a full range of motion. It's important to note that full range of motion for your six-pack involves bringing the pelvis closer to the rib cage, or the rib cage closer to the pelvis. This crunching motion is what your abs do. This is not abs. So if you're feeling it in your hip flexors are not your abs. Like, any bending through here is not your abs doing any work. You might feel it in your abs because maybe your abs are working to stabilize, but it is not your core at all that is being activated if you're moving through here. So for any of these exercises, make sure you're staying as stable as possible through here, or you're just specifically focusing on bringing your rib cage closer to your pelvis. And then as far as how to actually implement and program in this workout, I recommend doing it 2 to 3 times a week. Make sure you're taking at least one day off between doing it. So don't do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Again, add it to a bigger workout routine. If that workout routine has abs in it, I would take those ab exercises out and just do this workout program because you don't want to just like overtrain your abs. So don't do like any extra ab work beyond this, and do it for 4 to 6 weeks. So hopefully we're all on the same page about what this workout and any other ab workout can actually do for your abs and for your physique. They're not going to spot reduce fat. They're not efficient for overall fat loss. They can help you build more abdominal muscle so that you can see it through a thicker layer of fat, and they can help you add strength and stability and endurance to your core. Good. Let's get into the workout. First up, we have stomach vacuums. For this, take a deep inhale, and then as you exhale, think about pulling your belly button in towards your spine. This is kind of the same movement that you would do if you were just trying to make yourself look as skinny as possible, but you're actually gonna hold it there for 30 to 60 seconds. You don't need to hold your breath, just breathe in and out through your chest, but really just focus on that tight hold in the transverse abdominis. We're starting out with this exercise because being able to activate your transverse abdominis properly is key in being able to maintain proper form in other ab exercises and minimizing risk of injury. It's a really good way to activate the deeper muscles of your core before you get into the rest of the workout. The main purpose of this muscle in the body is to stabilize and protect the spine. So doing this is really, really helpful for a healthy core. The transverse abdominis is also known as the body's natural corset muscle, which, as that name suggests, means that if you do train it regularly, it can shrink your waist by itself without any additional fat loss. If you're having trouble connecting to that deep part of your core from a standing position, I highly recommend starting off doing this in a kneeling or bent over position. It's a lot easier to feel that connection because you get the feedback kind of from gravity pulling the opposite direction. You can, in a sense, fight gravity to pull your belly button up against your spine. So you're gonna hold the stomach vacuum for 30 to 60 seconds and then rest for about 45 to 60 seconds and then repeat it one more time. Our next exercise is the cable crunch, and this is in here to activate the rectus abdominis, i.e. the six-pack. This is the kind of exercise that is going to build a more visible, defined six-pack. The key here is to keep your hips super stable as you move your head up and down. No part of your head moving should come from any sort of flexion or extension through your hips. Your rectus abdominis, or your six-pack, is responsible for bringing your rib cage closer to your pelvis. So what you should really focus on is crunching through that small space rather than letting the rest of your body move just to be able to move the weight. I love the cable crunch as an exercise because it not only allows for really good flexion of the rectus abdominis, but you also get some extension through there as well when you arch your back at the top. If you're not feeling this in your abs, try either increasing the weight or decreasing the weight. Oftentimes when the weight is too heavy, other muscles will start to take over to compensate, which is why you don't feel it in the target muscles as much. Or if you're just going too light, then you're going too light, and that's why you're not feeling it. So play around with it, focus on just perfecting the form and the movement. You're gonna get so much more out of any of these exercises and any exercise in general if you're performing it with 100% solid form. If you don't have access to a gym or a cable machine, the home alternatives for this are, if you have a band, you could do the banded crunches, so basically the exact same movement just with a band, or you can do a weighted crunch. This is basically the same, just horizontal rather than vertical. Even though the crunch looks a lot different, it's actually a really good substitute for this because both with the crunch and the cable crunch, you have the weight at the top of your body and you're pulling your rib cage closer to your pelvis to move that weight. So you're gonna do 10 to 15 reps of cable crunches or regular crunches if you're doing this at home. Rest for 45 to 60 seconds, repeat for one more set, and then we're gonna move on to the next exercise. Next up, we have cable rotations. For these, I personally recommend starting from a kneeling position, locking your elbows in by your sides, and then grabbing the cable and holding it straight out in front of you. From there, you want to rotate from side to side, purely through your core. You'll see a lot of people demonstrating this exercise standing and with their arms fully extended in front of them, and this isn't inherently wrong. It just activates a lot more muscle groups than if you keep everything else super stable. So if you're standing and your arms are straight out, you're gonna get a lot more rotation through your hips and through your shoulders. And since this is a core workout, we don't really want our hips and our shoulders involved, which is why I recommend starting from your knees and bracing your arms against your sides. Your core really doesn't have that big of a rotational range of motion, so if you're not moving very far, that's okay. Don't compensate for the lack of range of motion by adding range of motion through your shoulders and twisting through your hips. This exercise is going to light up your obliques as well as get some activation in your rectus abdominis, so it is also a good one for kind of building more definition in your midsection. I added this exercise because I wanted to include some rotational movement because it's not a movement that we often practice in standard workouts. Everything is just kind of front to back or side to side. But if you never exercise with some amount of rotation involved, then you're gonna be a lot more likely to injure yourself in just day-to-day life. Like if you have to twist yourself to catch something, or if you trip and you twist as you fall, being able to be strong in rotation is really important so that you don't injure yourself when these everyday things happen. If you're doing this at home and have a resistance band, you can totally just do this with a resistance band. Just connect it to something that's approximately elbow height and do the exact same motion. If you don't have a band, then you can do slow weighted Russian twists. And the reason I say slow is because oftentimes you see people doing Russian twists, they're just twisting from side to side. There's no resistance going on there. They're just kind of like moving and grooving and not really activating their abs very much. When you slow it way down and use weight, you actually get that resistance in the rotational plane of motion. So whichever version of this rotational exercise you decide to do, you're gonna do 10 to 15 reps, rest again for 45 to 60 seconds, and then do another set for a total of 2 sets. Then we are moving into the next exercise, which is the reverse crunch. You might be thinking, but Marissa, I thought you said this was a well-rounded ab workout. We already did a version of crunches. Well, here is the thing. With cable crunches, the weight is at your head and you are initiating the movement by bringing your rib cage to your pelvis. Whereas with the reverse crunch, it's basically the opposite. The weight is your lower body basically, so it's coming from the bottom and you're initiating the movement by bringing your pelvis closer to your rib cage. So basically the eccentric and concentric parts of the two exercises are opposite, so they complement each other really well. And here's the thing with reverse crunches. If they feel easy, you're probably doing it wrong. Make sure you're doing these nice and slow. If you're doing them with any sort of speed, chances are the momentum from your legs is what is carrying you through the movement rather than actually using your abdominal muscles to crunch up. As you go through this exercise, you should really visualize one vertebra at a time leaving the mat and then one vertebra at a time rolling back down onto the mat. If your back is just hitting the mat flat all at once, then you're not really doing the crunch, you're just crunching through your hip flexors, which is, again, not actually activating your ab muscles. One of the cues that I find really helpful for this is starting with your back completely flat on the mat. So tuck your pelvis a little bit so that there's not a gap under your lower back. When you start out with the gap there, it's just a lot easier to accidentally overuse your hip flexors in this movement, whereas if your back is pressed flat against the mat, you can really feel your spine articulate each vertebra as it comes off the mat, which means you're probably actually activating your abs, which is Perfect. So you're gonna do this for 8 to 12 reps, rest again for 45 to 60 seconds, do one more set for a total of 2 sets, and then we're moving on to the last exercise. Our last exercise is the good old classic plank, but we're gonna do it with a twist. We're gonna do it with actually proper form, because most people don't. From your elbows, you're gonna lift your hips up into a plank position, and then we're gonna make this exercise look a lot less cute by tucking our pelvis under, doing a tiny little crunch, tucking that pelvis. This is what most people skip, probably because it doesn't look as cute for Instagram. If you don't tuck your pelvis, your butt looks a lot better. I'll give you that. But it also puts a lot more strain on your lower back rather than actually activating the front part of your core, which is what planks are supposed to do. Doing a static ab exercise like planks in order to get better abs is like doing a static glute bridge and expecting that to grow your glutes. It's just not gonna happen. However, that doesn't mean planks are useless and that you should never do them. They are one of the best exercises in building endurance in your core, which is also just really helpful for a strong, healthy, stable core. So while this exercise will have a very minimal contribution to actually giving you a defined core, it will have a major contribution to giving you a healthy core, which also translates to a healthy back and lower risk of back injury, because your back and your core are the same thing. Your core is just the middle part of your body and your back is part of that. So hopefully that's enough motivation to push through the planks, even though I probably just took away your main motivation for doing planks, but we're gonna hold these for 30 to 60 seconds, rest for 45 to 60 seconds, and then do one more set for a total of 2 sets. And that's the workout. And that's it. I hope you guys liked this workout. If you give it a try, please let me know how it goes, how it feels. If you give it a try for like actually 4 to 6 weeks, please share any progress or updates that you have. And again, if you want to specifically learn how to build a visible six-pack, I have a whole video on that and a whole ab challenge to help you actually implement the tips that I put in that video. So I will leave a link to both of those down in the description box below. Check them out. If you have any questions about how to implement this workout, please leave them down in the comments below. Or if you have any other suggestions or ideas for more workouts that you want to see, or if you want like a specific like core strength workout, we can focus on like that specifically. Whatever you want, let me know. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really supports me and my channel, and I really genuinely appreciate it. Please share this video with your friends, your family, and your neighbors. If you want to see more content from me all about health and fitness, you can check it out over here. To see future videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I post a video, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!